Welcome back to a fun little Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 2 update. I know everybody saw the clip of Ross Duffer pushing Steve off the desk and saying that's how Season 5 ends, right? That's pretty big. We've also got 2 new teaser clips to talk about, as well as another new instance of Noah Schnapp spoiling things. It is so crazy how close we are to seeing Volume 2 come out. I can't help but feel like it's borderline overshadowing Christmas for me at this point, and I can't wait to rewatch Volume 1 before going into the new episodes. And I'm just gonna say this real quick. Make sure you're subscribed because you are not going to want to miss out on all the breakdowns coming soon. I kind of just want to hop right into it, and I think first and foremost we need to address the Fallon show stunt. So after the Duffer brothers were interviewed and talked for a bit, they were asked to arrange these figures in a way that would give us a few hints as to how the rest of Stranger Things will go. And you know what? This was a good idea. This is the most anyone has ever hinted at what will happen in Volume 2 besides Noah spoiling a couple things and slipping up here and there, but that's because it's the Duffers. They can allude to as much as they want. It's their show. So keep in mind that this is a scripted show and the Duffers love to play games with our emotions, but I do think there's some truth to what they showed us. They start out by putting Max, Holly, and Derek together. This is because when we return to Camazotz in Volume 2, Derek and all of the other children will be joining Holly in the Creel house, just like we see in one of the new clips. But then he also places Nancy with them, as if she will be the one to possibly go into Camazotz and help them escape. And then after that, Matt takes the Will using his powers figure and stacks it on top of Mr. Whatsit. And then on top of Will, he puts Vecna. That's crazy. This is going to be a huge part of the unveiling of the big secrets in Volume 2. They said they're going to answer all of our questions, and this is hinting at that. Why is Will special? What's the real secret behind the Upside Down? How was it created? What is the Mind Flare one? Why is Henry and Will the same? Recently, it was just announced, not in the actual show or in any interview, and not in the First Shadow stage play, but exclusively in an educational pack for the play, that Henry Creel's birthday is on March 22nd, 1947. It's on the same exact day as Will's birthday is. That's crazy. This will most likely be part of Will being used for the bridge. Vecna has been gathering all of the children to Hawkins to use them as vessels for the Mind Flare's master plan. They are going to try to use the power of the Mind Flare through each of these 12 children to open a portal, a wormhole, like Mr. Clark was talking to his class about. In Season 1, he said the only reason humans aren't capable of creating a wormhole, a portal, is solely because of how much energy it would require. We're not capable of coming up with that much, but now you give 12 children the powers of the Mind Flare, and now you have enough power to open a wormhole, a gate, this bridge. They will be able to travel through space and time, which means physically traveling back in time possibly. Henry Creel could go back to prevent his younger self from ever being infected by the Mind Flare in this cave system. You can learn about it in the First Shadow play breakdown I did, but it also means that they can use it to open a portal from Dimension X to Hawkins, finally accomplishing the Mind Flare's 44-year-long goal of getting into this dimension so he can conquer our world. And we just saw new footage from the trailer of Vecna attaching himself to this monster, this inner layer of the beast where the children's physical bodies are being kept alive, just like with what they did to Will in Season 1. It seems like with this new stacking reference, Vecna and the Mind Flare might use the Hive Mind to take back control of Will and make him their final piece of this puzzle for the bridge. Ross puts Joyce right next to them, meaning she will probably be the biggest person trying to save Will, and rightly so. This is going to feel like Season 1 all over again. It's actually kind of crazy that in the new clip we're going to talk about, that Joyce is suddenly so ready to put Will in danger and use his brand new powers when they have no idea what the risk of him using them is. Because at face value, they must think he's stronger than 11. We've never seen her crumple 3 Demogorgons at once. Did you hear the way Mike was so excited?
You took out that demo with your mind?
I mean, 3 to be exact.
I'm just blown away that Joyce lost all of her overprotective parenting that we saw in Volume 1 as soon as he gets his powers. I mean, he's not invincible. They then put Elle in a glass of water. I mean, this is pretty obvious, but this means she'll be fighting from the void, just like last time. I mean, her final outfit of this season is just a wetsuit. We saw her searching for Vecna in the radio station, in the makeshift tub at Hopper's cabin, and now at somewhere in Hawkins' lab, it seems like. This apparatus is basically the same that we saw her using in Season 1. She's going back in the Upside Down with Hopper and Mike as well. But her in this glass just feels like the exact same deprivation tanks we saw Brenner using at the lab. Ross also puts Erica up in the air on this platform, as if she will continue to be the lookout just like she was in Episode 4 The Sorcerer. She was the one in the bell tower informing everyone what's happening with a bird's eye view, and it seems like she'll continue to do the same in Volume 2. Mike, Dustin, and Lucas get paired up together, thankfully. I need the OG boys to continue staying together, please, through the rest of this season. I've been really enjoying it. I'm glad they didn't put Dustin off to the side. I've kind of been missing his old self, but with him crying and hugging Steve and then also Mike, it seems like he'll be coming back to his senses and dealing with the problems at hand. And then shockingly, Matt actually puts Steve right on the edge of the desk, literally teetering over the edge. All of the audience reacts. You can hear them gasp.
Whoa!
Matt says he's fine, and then Ross actually moves him and lets him fall off the desk. And this is nuts. At first glance, it's not hard to get what they were doing. They were suggesting that Steve is going to fall, that he would die. But they know how much of a fan favorite he is, and they love to play with our emotions. But were they? How much of this did they have planned out beforehand? Because if we rewatch it, before Ross pushes Steve over the edge, Matt was actually going back after he put him down to push him even closer to the edge, and then stopped when he realized he was teetering and he was as far as he would go before falling. And then he reassures the audience that he's fine, joking of course, not negating the fact that him on the very edge puts him the closest to danger, to death. And when Ross comes in to contribute to Steve's placement, I don't think he meant to push him over. I think he thought that he could sit even further over the edge without falling. He took his hand away as if Steve would stay, like him falling off was an accident. After it happens, look at his body language. He nervously laughs and puts up his hands, shrugging, and says, "I don't know," and then looks off screen, like looking for assurance that he didn't just mess up and what he did was okay. It seems like he was worried that he accidentally gave a spoiler away. Matt picks Steve up and puts him back, trying to play it off. Seems like Steve will be the fan favorite who's in a near-death incident this season. I mean, let's be real. I don't think they're going to actually go through with killing him off 100% by the end of the show. But remember, they're only releasing the next 3 episodes. There will be another mini finale before the final episode comes out on New Year's. Steve possibly dying might just be that cliffhanger. Originally, I'm kind of worried about Nancy being in trouble, but was Steve being here supposed to represent him being on the brink of death? Poor Dustin is not going to get a break this season. First Eddie and now Steve. I really think that they didn't mean for him to fall, but the way that they both reacted to it definitely gives us a lot to think about. Now, just yesterday, the majority of the main cast and the Duffers were interviewed together in New York, and it resulted in a lot of funny, too close to spoiler moments I need to talk about.
Will's powers came the same way Eleven's does. He sticks his hand out like that, but it didn't make sense because... Oh wait, I can't. Because the way...
You can.
think we should stop
I don't know
there.
what you're gonna say. Actually, you make.
I'm terrified. I'm so terrified.
So here, Noah's being asked what he brought to the Duffers that they really liked and kept in Season 5, and he says originally in the previs they mapped it out so Will uses his powers just like 11. But that doesn't make sense because... And then he realizes he might be spoiling things. This is because there is a reveal in Volume 2 that Will's powers are not like 11's. 11's powers, as revealed by the first Shadow stage play, comes from Dr. Brenner taking Henry's blood and giving Terry Ives and all the other pregnant women blood transfusions. Henry's blood was a unique, one-of-a-kind blood type, and after the Mind Flare went inside of him, that's how he got his powers. And that's how all of MK Ultra's test subjects got their powers, through Henry's blood. But Will did not get his powers like that. In Volume 2, they will learn that Will gets his powers directly from the Mind Flare as well. The Duffers actually revealed this in an interview. It hasn't come out in the show yet, so Noah shut himself down to not spoil anything. The Duffers announced that Will taps into the hive mind and uses Vecna's powers, which come from the Mind Flare. While they are a bit stronger than 11's, they're also more dangerous to use. We're going to see Vecna go back through their connection and take control of Will. And then at the end, the very last question of the entire interview is from a fan that asked the entire cast what the #1 most emotional scene in the entire entire series was and what made it so challenging. And Matt immediately chimes in.
So much of this you guys can't talk about. I'm just going to put that out right now. So just be careful.
This is hilarious. Charlie says that none of them can answer the question, knowing their bosses are right there watching them all like hawks because obviously the ending of season 5 will be the most emotional yet. Episode 7, the end of volume 2, and especially the finale, episode 8, the right side up, will be the most emotional. I mean, we have Dustin crying and hugging Steve, them telling each other you die, I die. We have Dustin alone, running and hugging Mike in the upside down. We have Nancy and Jonathan crying. Will is in trouble and is doing this blood-curdling yell for everyone to run. Lucas is also trying to save Max from the demos, and she'll be waking up soon. I mean, I do believe them when they say the entirety of Volume 2 will be emotional, but the funniest thing is after the interviewer can't get any of them to talk about it, she asks one more time before moving on.
Last call. Anyone want to throw in another scene before we wind this down?
You can see the Duffers giving them all the death stare, and then look at Finn, Gaten, and Caleb. One by one, they look at Noah, and he lets out a big smile. They know something that we don't. Will is going to have such a rough time in this finale, not like they ever gave him a break, but still, this is hilarious. It's crazy that it may be partially due to Joyce throwing him to the wolves. All of Volume 1, she was so overprotective, just like she was in all the other seasons. Anything dangerous, send Jonathan to the fire, he'll be fine. But a cold breeze comes in and she's worried about Will being cold. But then she sees him get powers, and next we pick back up in episode 5, we see this clip of her excitedly suggesting that they should use Will's powers to go straight to Vecna. I mean, his powers haven't been around long enough for them to realize the risks involved with using them. If she's the one that pushes him to go to Vecna and he turns around and controls Will and hurts him, Joyce is never going to forgive herself. It just feels a little out of character and naive for her to completely change up like this. She suggests taking Will straight to the hive mind so he can jack back into it, which sounds dangerous, but I guess that's where the dead Demogorgon comes in. This is actually safer than finding a live one to do it with. They're going to try to shock this one back to life, jump-starting its heart long enough for Will to go through it. But they also continue to make a point to call Will a sorcerer again, pointing out that his powers come from inside of him. And we already know that that's not the case. Maybe the Duffers didn't mean to spoil it, but Will's powers don't come from within. Clerics have divine power granted to them, and wizards use magic from studying in the practice from their spellbooks. Sorcerers have it inside of them, which Will does not. If anything, Eleven is a sorcerer, and Henry Creel is the dark sorcerer. Their powers both come from within. If anything, Will is a warlock. But maybe they just haven't realized that yet. Warlocks get their powers from the Twisting Nether. They use shadow magic to control demons. Will literally uses the Mind Flayer's powers to control the demos. I mean, they know that he's been tapping into the hive mind. I'm not sure why they keep insisting his powers are inside himself. I guess we're just going to have to wait and find out. Now, lastly, we get a clip of Derek and the other children waking up in a field in Camazotz. It looks like the same one the dimension door that Holly creates will appear in. Henry leads them to the Creel house to meet up with Holly, and he tells them the same warped story he told her. He says that they don't remember how they got there, but he saved them from the monsters, and tells them not to go in the forest, trying to keep them away from Max. But now that Holly's in on it, we're going to see Max with her hands completely full trying to rescue all of these little kids from Vecna's mind. This makes me so excited for Volume 2. Tell me in the comments the final videos you want to see me make as we get near the end of this wait for Volume 2, and send this video to all of your Stranger Things friends so we can talk about all these new things in the comments together. And I will see you soon in another video. Peace.